I'm going to cover 5 main points in this seminar, points that I feel that are very salient to anyone who is applying for the startup visa. And the first one is, what is the startup visa? Let's start right at the beginning. Get a grasp of the basics so that we can build upon that. What benefits, rights, and obligations does it bestow? What does the Government of Canada aim to accomplish with this immigration program? 2, who is eligible to apply for the startup visa in terms of age, education, experience, financial resources, relationship to the subject company? 3, are there certain industries, services, and or products that are best suited for the startup visa program? 4, how does one decide to which designated organizations you should apply in order to receive that all-important letter of support? And 5, what are some general best practices when applying for a startup visa? So here we go. What is the startup visa? Canada's startup visa is an official travel document that grants the holder permanent resident status. It applies to members of the business immigration class specifically who are active shareholders in a company that is established in Canada. What are the rights, benefits, and obligations attached to PR status? Everyone is talking about getting PR status. Exactly what do you get? Well, it comes with the right to live, study, and or work anywhere in Canada. You have access to social benefits that most Canadian citizens receive. In fact, almost every social benefit that we do receive. You have protection under Canadian law, the Constitution Act, and the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. And most importantly for some, you have the right to apply for Canadian citizenship. Now, alternatively, what are the obligations and restrictions on PR status? You must obey the laws of Canada, as we all do. Contribute to federal, provincial, and municipal taxes. You're restricted from holding certain jobs that require high-level security, and these jobs would most likely be in the federal government. And you're unable to vote or run for political office until you receive citizenship. So the next logical question is, how do you get Canadian citizenship and how long does it take? Well, 5 years. And within that 5-year period, there's a stipulation that you must be physically within Canada for 1,095 days. So if we divide 365 into 1,095, that equals 3 years in Canada within the previous 5 years. So what are the outcomes that Canada is seeking via the Startup Visa program? Because if we know what Canada wants, then we can give them what they want so we can get what we want, which is that all-important permanent resident status. Now, according to Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada, our Startup Visa program targets immigrant entrepreneurs with the skills and potential to build businesses in Canada that are innovative, can create jobs for Canadians, and can compete on a global scale. And I say memorize that quote because you really need to memorize that quote, because in every interaction that you have with anyone on any level that's making a decision about your status, you should exemplify everything in that quote. So who can apply? Who's the ideal candidate? In terms of age, there's no official age attached to the program, but you should be 18 years of age or older. You should be an adult. Your education level, again, that is flexible. Practically speaking, though, you should have the education that corresponds to the function that you'll fulfill within the company. In terms of language ability, it's CLB 5 or above. And again, experience, flexible. However, you should show that you can do the job that you're going to do within the company. Financial resources. Now, there is a chart that is in the Government of Canada website, which basically delineates how much money you should have for a year. So for For one person, for example, it's $12,960 to support yourself for 1 year. That's the official number. Of course, it will probably take more than that, but that will get you here. And in terms of relationship to the company, each applicant must own at least 10% of the voting rights attached to all shares of the corporation. And you may know that up to 5 people can apply under one startup visa. And applicants and the designated organizations must jointly hold more than 50% of the total voting rights attached to all shares of the corporation. That's once you get to that stage. Are there certain industries, services, or products that are best suited for the startup visa program? And again, we go to the quote to answer that question. Canada's startup visa program targets immigrant entrepreneurs with the skills and potential to build businesses in Canada that are innovative, can create jobs for Canadians, can compete on a global scale, so the question is, does your enterprise qualify? As long as you can build a case with sufficient supporting documentation that proves you and your enterprise fulfills the requirements of the quote, then we're good to go. So how do you choose to which designated organizations you should apply? Firstly, I recommend that you take an honest look at what you require to ensure that your venture thrives. For example, do you need funding? Do you need help with getting market intelligence? Are you heavily reliant on government support to make your enterprise grow? 2. Determine what you're willing to exchange for the services you receive. For example, are you willing to give an equity stake? Would you rather pay fees for the services? Or would you like to exchange services in kind or a discount in the future? 3. Who is your target market in terms of are you business to business to consumer? Are you dealing with a specific region? Are you in a specialized industry? All these are factors which will help you match with the proper designated organization for you and your company. So we get to what I call the juicy part of the presentation. What are some best practices when applying for a startup visa? Here's what I recommend. Ensure that your supporting documentation is provided as originals, not copies, wherever possible. Your financial documents should be certified by an accountant and or the responsible financial institution, i.e., your bank. When applying to designated organizations, take that application very seriously. They are the gatekeepers to the Startup Visa program. They deal with the government directly. And take the time, again, to research the designated organization to make sure that it's the right match for you. Yes, you want to get permanent status, but also you want to get the best deal possible. Why give up 35% of your corporation when maybe you can find a designated organization that is willing to take 10% in order to help you? And remember the quote, and I'll say it again, Canada's Startup Visa program targets immigrant entrepreneurs with the skills and potential to build businesses in Canada that are innovative, can create jobs for Canadians, can compete on a global scale. You want to manifest these properties, these characteristics in every interaction that you have, in every piece of documentation that you submit, in every proof of your qualification to gain that permanent resident status.